Lush here at the Hub Pavilion in Copenhagen. I'm delighted to be joined by Brendon Grunewald. He's the founder of the Polar Conservation Organization. So the name sort of says it all, but what are you here for in Copenhagen?
Well, here primarily because I think it's a meeting point for so many people who are concerned about the same sort of thing. And although the conference, the COP15, is primarily climate change, of course, the future of the polar regions is inexplicably linked to climate change. Climate change is something that is caused in mid-latitudes but has an enormous effect in high latitudes. And of course, it goes a lot, but polar conservation goes beyond, obviously, things like the melting of the ice and things like that, but it also covers things like indigenous peoples' rights, there's sovereignty issues, and a variety of other issues, the conservation of the fauna and the flora. And so this is an opportunity for us to participate in a forum and meet a lot of other people, because they're all present here at the conference, and discuss with them how we can work together on a number of different issues.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about the Arctic and what your concerns are, and specifically what you're lobbying for.
Well, the Polar Conservation Organization is primarily working towards on communication, outreach and education to a number of different groups in society. One is the politicians and the necessity for framework agreements for both the Antarctic and the Arctic. These are international territories, so you need to have political frameworks that govern and at least ensure cooperation for a sustainable future. The other area we're targeting is also talk to business leaders and the necessity for, of course, business to change and adapt to more sustainable practices, more greener or more environmentally friendly products. And then, of course, lastly, the consumer in terms of lifestyle change that's necessary for sustainability as well. We're pushing quite hard on things like the need for a treaty or at least an agreement related to the Arctic. Mm-hmm. Arctic governance is something that is gaining more and more attention.
Especially as oil gets scarcer and scarcer, and countries are going for that oil underneath the shelf. Is that right?
That's correct. Of course, the higher the oil price and the more accessible it is, the more, the easier it is to go after, etc. And of course, that has a lot of other side effects on the environment. Mm-hmm. It goes beyond oil and gas, of course, and other minerals. I think one of the areas that you can't ignore is, of course, the issue of indigenous peoples, mm-hmm. their rights and their interests. And I think also it's not yet clear. So a lot of the sovereignty issues are not clear, mm-hmm. and that's there's a lot to be done there.
And will that get worked into the treaty, do you think?
Well, I think if there is, I think it'll by necessity have to. Mm-hmm. If you talk to people, the representation groups from the indigenous peoples of the polar region, particularly Arctic, of course, that's you're going to need to take some of that into account. These people have lived there for far longer than, and it's always academic, sitting in somewhere like Brussels or wherever else and thinking about things. But when you go out there, like I was in Maine now, for example, mm-hmm. You learn a lot when you're out there, and that first-hand information is essential as well.
Mm-hmm. Brendon Grunewald, thank you very much for coming along to the Hub Pavilion here in Copenhagen.
Thank you.